Okay, we are live on YouTube. Welcome, welcome, welcome to this is a unique show because we've decided to kind of combine the idea of doing an Oracle Stones. This is not going to be for live readings. We're going to kind of try and figure out what is going to be best for the collective here. I already had it muted. So we always have way too much fun before we push the go button. I'm sorry, we just need to start recording some of this stuff and just not going live. And we can kind of keep it for ourselves because I think there's a lot of information that we talk about that's very, very relevant to what humanity and everything that's on this and in this, I should say, in this realm. I don't even want to say planet. I think it's just whatever is in this realm because I don't think it's just this earthly thing. It's everything that is enclosed and encapsulated and blah, 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 blah. So, yeah. So, yeah, you said you had a list. When I got your message this afternoon, I have a list. It's like, okay, great. Because I've been on the road for like 5.5 hours today for work. So it's good somebody made a list.
Yeah.
What kind of ideas do you have though? So I can give you.
Geez. Okay. Well, first of all, let's just start with the one that's standing by itself, and that is managing the complex. Ooh. All right, and then we move over to, and because there's a couple of rows here, I'm just going to, and I've even written them in different colors, so I don't quite know what's up with that yet. So so I'll read them as the colors and see what shows up. So
Okay.
on the blue, I know, isn't it crazy times? Okay, so on the blue, we have self-awareness, hurt, focus attention, blood thicker than water, energy. Water is stronger than family. Stop pussyfooting it around. And spiritual curses, and I know I didn't think curses, so I don't know how that turned up. And then opposite that I've got cha, which I think is short for character. So yes, we started with character. What was it? Character shifting. That's right, shifting. So
So,
this is
so,
when
pause for a second. I'm kind of thinking of when you say CHAR, that makes me think of something that is charred, something that
no,
is a char.
it was cha.
CHA?
Yes.
Okay.
Cha.
Sorry. Sorry. The Kiwi accent threw me for a hot second.
That's all right. That's fine. It's an energy. You try
Yeah, it
saying it.
is. That's why I wanted
Cha,
to clarify it.
cha, cha.
Okay.
Well, how deep inside your solar plexus can you feel that vibration? Cha. Yeah. Anyway, music class over. Okay, so then we go on to the red, and the red says power in inner strength, wimp or wonder. Um, only way is up, getting past physical templates of self, managing. I don't know what that last little thing is at the end there. It's some sort of weird shape. Perseverance and templates of spiritual self. And then the last one was dreams. So, how they seem to be playing a big role at the moment, how they seem to be getting hijacked. If you can't get persuaded during your physical roundness while you're in this density, then you're trying to be tempted in your dream state. But in your dream state, over the years, you've gotten so strong and aware because you dream so much and so deeply now that you're able to differentiate between the realms that you're going into. you're able to come back and you're able to recall portions of your dream. And then throughout the day, when you find yourself in that same frequency, a bit more of that dream is going to come back to you, which then is like the puzzle pieces. I found myself in a library this week waiting for some photocopying to be done, and I'm putting puzzle pieces together on a table, and I was concerned that I was doing somebody else's picture. I couldn't help myself. I love puzzle pieces. I've got to find where they go. Just that tiny little flick of color. Let me find that right spot. So that's a little bit of my list, and that's just today. It's only half the day. I've only been up a few hours.
Yeah, I know that with the time difference and everything, but for me, even though you get up here in the States, and for me, it's get up, kind of try and take a pace. You get your pace to get going and out the door, and do do whatever you got to do to get into your work. For me today, it was my first big. Yesterday was kind of a big travel day, but I had to travel a little like 2.25 hours. So it was a 5 hours in the car. And I do really, really enjoy driving. Good thing. But I was so distracted that I missed two of my turnoffs. I missed one. I don't think I missed one on the way out, but I missed two on the way back. And I'm thinking, why is I'm really being distracted? Because it's not a new trip. I was assigned to people I had been assigned to before, and it was great. They all want to smile and give you a hug,
Yep. Yeah.
and just chat away, and you get a, yeah. I mean, there were a lot of smiles. They were very pleased, which is nice. I mean, it's good for my ego,
Yeah.
but I my when you do something, when it's this work, or whether it's because I work in mental health, you're there for a reason. You don't do it because it's necessarily, hey, it is fun. It's fun if you make it fun, for crying out loud. Some people hate to cook. I like to cook. But, some people think of it as a chore. So it's that kind of thing. When you find that passion and a way to get through what's going on, it makes these other things not necessarily, it makes it enjoyable.
Yes.
So I've been up since 4 o'clock in the morning. It's 8 p.m. and it's probably going to be another 20 to 22 hour day, and I will not have a problem with that. I will still get up at the normal time. I'll move forward. I'm not a nappy person. I don't do
Yeah.
the nap thing. So
Uh,
yeah, you just got to keep going, and if somebody says it's going to catch up to you, nah, no, I've always been like this. It's not going to happen. Sorry.
yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
want to burst your bubble, but that's just the way it is for some people. When you
Yeah.
start tapping into because technically your body really doesn't sleep, right?
Oh,
I mean, you do, but maybe your body does sleep, but the rest of you does not. So there's always something that you're doing, and I want to figure out what the hell is going on. And I think that's one of the other reasons why we do what we do here. And it has to be a synergistic relationship where we're in alignment. And it doesn't mean that you're not going to go off and do your thing. It doesn't mean I'm not going to go off and do my thing. We're both
oh,
going to go down. But there's that whole sign. It's like a sine wave. You know what I mean? It's one of these things, and they're not always the same because sometimes we do a lot of stuff together, and then we go, you just kind of got to go with that. It sounds kind of cheesy, but yeah, you really do go with that flow, and you don't get offended because somebody hasn't. I didn't. If I send Stone a message, and she doesn't reply for 2 or 3 days, that's like, I don't care. I
I'm
mean, I
sorry.
care. I don't care, but you know what I mean, though. I
Yeah.
know everybody has their shit going. I'm not saying that you do that, and I don't know. Maybe I just don't pay attention. But people are like that though. They get all offended because I sent you this text and you didn't respond to me in 5 seconds. I send my kid a text and it's like I'm lucky to get a response in 3 days. So chill, chill,
Yeah. Yeah.
chill. Pay attention to you. Pay attention to your own stuff. We got a lot of stuff going on. And the more you focus on that's negative, that's what we're going to manifest, especially right now.
Yeah.
Because we were
Yeah.
talking about the power of our belief system and these, the portals. I'm starting to feel like a little cliche on that. I got to do a little research if I'm able to about that sort of thing. You said
That's
you
all
had a,
right. That's all right. It's like they're gonna be everywhere soon. They're gonna be everywhere. So
they who? They who?
portals,
Okay.
okay? They're gonna be visible.
So how are they manifesting? Because I think a lot of the artificial ones are probably not the best thing to kind of investigate. I
That's
mean, you
right.
might, depending on who and what you are.
Well, this is the thing. At the end of the day, nobody's gonna know exactly the recipe, all right? And if you've been a good boy, you might go this way. If you've been a bad boy, you might go that way. Or girls, whatever you.
Water and ice. I have
Um,
my I have my
okay,
ginger
so
ale.
like your inner spirit, your inner self, your when you get down to it, the boss, in my reality, my boss.
Yep, yep,
Um, and I prefer it that way because it now shows me emotions. It now shows me discernment. It now shows me the limitation of what fear is. It's like we get past this. We're moving into a higher version of ourselves and we're purging the old rubbish. We don't need to take it with us. We don't need all of these. We're leaving behind the guilt, shame, blame game.
yep,
All right, but
yep.
we've got to be able to say goodbye to that within ourselves first. We can't, if we don't, we're going to be still out there. And as much as you say you don't judge others, you judge others, you look at them, you look at the way they dress, the way they speak, you'll find something you don't like, but you'll also find something you do like. So this is the whole judgment. This is what judgment is. Finding what you like and what you don't like.
So,
Um,
so,
so,
so
yeah,
can I kind of make a delineation between the difference of being judgmental and using your judgment? Because when you're judgmental, that means you're critical, and that is like a safety thing for when you want to make sure you're going to keep safe. So it might be an egoic thing, but as far as we need good judgment, we definitely using good judgment is a tool for our discernment. So maybe using good judgment, but that is relative to your ability of discernment. And I think I have, for lack of a better way of putting it, been preaching discernment for probably 2 or 3 years now. Seriously, it comes up in
oh,
every freaking
it's
reading and talk.
important.
It
It's
is.
important.
It's extremely. How are we going to survive this if we can't tell who is what? Even if they keep their mouth closed, they don't say anything. You
Yeah,
have to be able to pick up nuances, whether it's with
yeah,
micro expressions or just a feeling that you get. Seriously, when you get this is how finite and how minute really is this skill. Uh, and I think with both of us with a psychology background, that's kind of why we're a little more tuned into that. The 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 issue becomes trying to keep a clean slate, and you
yeah,
don't want to prejudice your own personal experiences against what somebody else is or has. So if you had a bad experience with, dogs, and somebody has a pack full of dogs that's the most friendly, loving dogs, you're going to say, I'm not going near you. And that's fine. That's how you're keeping yourself safe. But it doesn't
yeah.
mean dogs are dangerous. So it's the same kind of thing. You have to go through your own filters. And if you see that maybe you have this fear because of what happened to you, does that mean you don't need to heal or you do need to heal? Do you need to address it? Who knows? You might not need any. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to heal anything.
Yeah.
Does that make sense though? I mean, the
Yeah,
whole
it does.
judgment thing is really, really critical.
Yeah, yeah. I've sort of stepped into the I can't it's like you can't change what you're not aware of, but as soon as you become aware of it, you become responsible for your actions. This is physical, spiritual, and mental. All right. So when you step into something and you're like, okay, I know that I did wrong there. Now I'm going to grow for that. I'm not going to say it's a mistake. I'm going to grow from that. That showed me that I was uncomfortable in that situation. So I'm not going to do that again and I'm going to move on. And these are when we build the reasonings for ourselves not to go on, not to go any deeper. The wall is up now. This is our safety zones. We're building the boundaries that we need to for our own personal protection. We're not doing it just on the physical level. We're doing it on the spiritual level. I'm like you. I don't sleep. I don't rest. I might lie down and close my eyes, but I'm off elsewhere, and I'm always trying to change what's going on inside my dream.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
And it's
know,
hard. Sometimes it really does get hard. I mean, I don't know what your day to day is, but for me, I have that Monday through Friday. I still have to get up at the same time. I still have to get out the door at the right time. I still have to be sitting down and getting ready for that day for whatever appointments I
yeah,
have. And whether they're in the office or out of the office, like today I said earlier, it was 5.5 hours in that car. It was
yeah,
just to see two people. I saw somebody before I left actually, because I'm kind of like that, kind of.
yeah,
I want to see people be okay,
yeah,
and that's kind of the motivation for that. And I'm not there to make their life better. I'm there to hand them the tools to make their own life better. Uh,
yeah,
but I guess the idea is that you do whatever you need to do, and you know when your body needs to stop. And I have
yeah,
come probably 2 or 3 times very close to what you would consider a clinical burnout.
yeah.
And it's a very different feel. It's not like what I'm experiencing right now. There's some very interesting, it's not bizarre, but it's a very interesting energy that's not really bombarded, but it's permeating where we're at right now. And
Okay.
if you're not feeling it, you need to kind of maybe connect to it, because
Yeah,
I think it's going to be really important. I don't even know how to really explain what's kind of going on in my head right now. Well, I'm getting a lot of it's switching over. I used to get words. I used to get words in my brain, not in my ears. I used to get words in my brain, and I would try to write them down. I don't see images. So, and I think that's why I say things are kind of shifting. So now things are shifting more to a somatic, where
okay,
you're
yeah,
going to feel things. Well, I don't know where this anxiety is coming from. I have clients that have said that for years. Now, each one of them has a different reason for this happening. It's not something that the system would believe, but I feel like I know what they are, so I address it with my unique perspective, and they've done
yes,
extremely well. So
yeah,
I think the idea is that we're going to have these shifts and changes, that we're going to be waking up, and it's not going to be comfortable, because it's going to feel
yeah,
very foreign. Yes, it feels
yeah,
very foreign to me to have these very powerful body feelings in different areas and aspects. So you got to do whatever you got to do to make that work for
mm,
you. For me, I kind of end up listening to certain people. I'll tap into this person over here. I'll listen to that person over there, and that kind of opens it up and gets you shifted into a different direction where you can actually utilize what you're feeling. Because that's what
yeah,
it is. It's not like you just have, oh, I had this feeling. No, it's a very specific part of your body that feels like it's
yep,
being activated. And the next thing I know, it's like, oh my God, what the hell is going on with my head? Oh, and then somebody pops on, because I'll just have like a thing going on random on YouTube, and it'll starts talking about the crown chakra. Oh,
yeah,
okay. Thanks for the answer without me really asking, but I guess I did.
yeah.
So I think all of that is available to all of us.
Yeah. I do too. I do too. Everything that I experience, I believe that everybody else can. That's it. Okay. If I'm able to do it and others around me aren't at the time, I'll show them, I'll teach them, I'll give them everything that I'm aware of, that my findings that I know that work for me. It's not going to necessarily work for you,
Right.
but it's you've got to do the work yourself. At the end of the
Yep.
day, you're the one that's got to do the shadow work. You're the one that's got to take the notes. You're the one that's got to do the deprogramming and reprogramming. You know, you got to rewire yourself. You got to go deep inside yourself and say you surrender to some stuff. You
Yeah.
can't be this. It's not like you're giving in. It's a different type of releasing. It allows you to release some of the really deep shit, excuse my French, that's not yours. It was never yours to begin with. All right, but this is the thing about these levels of trauma, these levels of anxiety. When you start getting anxiety, where does anxiety come from? It comes from you thinking you've hurt somebody else. Right. Oh no, they're coming here again. I'm going to be put into this situation where I have to face them. What am I going to say to them? I don't want to talk to them. I don't want to see them. Let's hide. You know, there's all these
Yeah.
different things that the inside goes through. You know, it's we got to go back. We got to work out what it was that put you in that stuck state in the first place. And then we release it. Let it go. All right, you can grow past this. If you're I'm seeing that this is a time of healing for all of us, and we can all do it when we pay a little bit of attention to ourselves. You know, this is not an egocentric thing. This is a wow, there's so much more going on within me. You know, I don't just have a brain up here or a gut brain down here. I have a heart brain that remembers stuff as well.
Hmm.
You know, there's so many areas of it. The belief systems that come in that later on you go, oh, why did I hold on to that for as long as I did? We're where we're meant to be, whether you want to believe it or not, that's your own choice. We're where we're meant to be. We're taking in the information that we're taking in. Now and then we can get a little bit more faster and we can jump ahead and we can get a breather. But this information that's coming in is it's a lot. We've got solar flares coming in. That's, there's think about the micro particles in that resonance that's actually going to spray across us. You know,
Hmm.
it may not hit us as an impact boom, but it may hit us as in nano, nanu.
Yeah. No. 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 Hey. Right. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. And you're not going to be aware of it. You're not gonna necessarily at the impact
Yeah.
contact point. At
Yeah.
that contact, you're not gonna physically notice that difference, but
I
um,
I've got one for you. I've got people this week coming and saying that they feel like they were possessed by some sort of AI god, some sort of AI possession. It was pulling them. And then they woke up from some feeling state and they went straight into a deep, deep panic of, oh my God, what have I done? Where have I gone? And they've got missing time. So something switched them off at the right time, and I've seen this in several places this week, and that's been a biggie. And I'm saying to everybody out there who's experiencing these different types of pulls, be nice to yourself.
yes.
And one of my magic words in red today is perseverance. Okay, perseverance. This too shall pass. You will find your way back. If you've lost your way, you'll find your way back.
So it was
If you've
kind of
gone too
funny.
far, you wouldn't be here right now.
Yep, and it was kind of funny because you kind of like, wow, my son had given me when I got back to the States. It was like in 2014. It was a really a horrific rough patch for me personally. And he, when I was would be driving to and from work, it's like 40-minute drive one way, and he had sent me some bands to listen to. And I know the one that you kind of laughed at the name of it, but he gave me like four or five of them. So one of them was a skillet, and that popped into my head today. And the reason I'm bringing it up now is because one of the songs that is really hugely motivating is we have basically given away the idea, and if we don't have the idea, we're not going to be aware of it, and we're not going to be able to realize that how powerful we are. And the song is called Invincible.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
kind of feel like we all have that, but we just forget about it. It's just like, yeah, that was Skillet. And then the other one was the 1,000 Foot Crutch. And then there was another one, Switchfoot. Switchfoot's a little softer as far as some of the messages and stuff, but they're really very empowering if you pull the words into your own belief system. I think it's really, really important to not be prejudiced because, oh, well, it's Christian and that turns you off, or it's
Yeah.
Muslim and it turns you off. You have to be a little more open-minded, and that's the idea of, let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater, and use what is going to benefit us to a higher ground, so to speak, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, we
I s-
forget. We give our power away.
yeah. Too much. Too much. You know, when we say we consent, we don't, you don't have the full facts. If you don't have the full facts, that contract's null and void. Okay. It's not valid. And you can just turn around and say you weren't aware of the full facts. They weren't presented to you.
Right.
And your inner standing did not comprehend the information one way or another. When you start seeing who and what has been harvesting your energy, your life changes. It changes. And then you start seeing things like how can I put it, spiritually transformative experiences.
Yeah, I think
Like you,
everybody on the planet has had one of those.
oh, come on. Every single day, people have it. They've got to have one every single day. You've got, you've got to have one every single day. It's almost like a aha moment. It's like, oh, I like that feeling. You know, that's what I look for. Yeah, I know. I'm bad, eh?
No, it was, I'm telling you, it was very challenging to drive home from work today. If I miss, because I love to drive, but I don't usually miss my exits, and I missed two on the way home. So for some reason,
Oh,
I was very, very distracted, and I'm thinking, okay, this is not a good thing. I mean, it wasn't like I was driving dangerous. I wasn't speeding. A lot of police out today.
ah,
A lot of
yeah,
polizia, carabinieri. They were everywhere. And I get little alerts on my dash cam thing, not a dash cam, but it's the GPS
yeah.
thing, and it'll tell me if I have my thing plugged in. It'll tell me. I was like, are the police still there? I'm like, I don't think so. I'm driving my damn car. I don't have to worry about the police, But yeah. So I guess the idea is that don't get distracted. It's going to be really easy to get
Yeah.
distracted, um, and it's important for us to try and stay focused as best we can.
Well,
What
that's right.
what the
The
hell is your list anyway?
Well, I read it already. Okay, so
Oh, okay.
geez, woman. Okay, on here somewhere I did write down focus, but it must be on one of my other lists. But focus was on the list because that's one of the things we've got to do is we've got to see where this information's coming. We have to be able to listen because there's temptations that are at foot. There's there's little, oh, a lot of distractions going on, a lot of distractions pulling us in directions you wouldn't normally go in. And then as soon as you're there, it's like, oh, how did I get here? Missing time, autopilot, reverse.
Well, I'm
Let's
thinking,
take me
when I was
back.
driving today, it was like, it's not like it was missing time. It was, I'm occupied
Yeah,
with something other
autopilot.
than my drive. I was fully aware. And it's like, oh, crap. As I watch the exit go by. And, it's not like I'm driving, 45 or 50. We're going 75 miles an hour. Okay, I'm done. Next. Yeah, which is fine. I kind of figure, well, I guess I
Can you
needed to
remember
go.
what you were
I needed
thinking?
to go this way. Yes, but I'm not going to say what it was. I know
Oh,
exactly what I was thinking about.
all
I
right.
know
And were you
exactly what I was thinking about. It's something that's been permeating my mind.
both times? Both misses?
I have to say consistently for at least over a month. So to notice that, and I have to be careful now, and I think this might be something that's important to point out too. When you have a position, whether you're a machine worker or an
Yeah.
executive or whatever it is that you do, for me, I can be working with some, I'm just going to say they're interesting people. I have not felt in danger, and any time that I have felt in danger, I'm grateful that I've been able to exit. Either
Yeah.
something has happened before I get to the appointment, or something happens like a day or two after. So and I'm not going to call it serendipity. I think it's extremely well planned, in my opinion, that I don't have to be exposed to this stuff because I'm a little more aware of the potential that can cause some physical harm.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
guess I guess I guess the I guess the idea is that making sure that you're kind of tuned into that sort of thing. The driving thing,
Yeah.
I kind of take in kind of a twofold idea, maybe, that I, from this perspective, see this as a distraction, but it's very possible that I needed to not take that exit and take a, 2 or 3 minute longer trip home because I needed more time to process what's been rolling in my head over the
Yeah.
last month or so. So it's really, really critically important that we kind of give ourselves that grace. Um, yeah, because I think
Yeah.
things are going to really intensify, especially if we're going to focus on, and you said focus. So being focused and making sure that we're aware of where the information
It's
is
coming from.
coming from and
Mm.
allowing ourselves, like I said, the grace to make those adjustments because it's all about our expectations. I expected in my head and mind to take the correct path home, what I
Yeah.
perceived as the correct path home, what the GPS was originally telling me to do. But I ended up taking a different exit and that one and it readjusted the path. So that kind of gives, oh,
Mm.
my path has been readjusted. Well, technically it probably wasn't because that was probably always my path anyway. Because somebody ended up contacting me and I was able to dictate into my phone about, and we made this great connection. It was the one I told you about before we pushed the go button. So,
What was the
we give
direction?
ourselves the grace.
What was the direction? Were you pulling off? Do you pull off to the you drive on the other side of the road?
Yeah, it would
So
be pulling off to the right, not to
okay.
the left. Okay.
All right, so you're pulling off to the
Yes,
right.
I've had to drive on. I go both ways.
No, no, no,
No,
no,
I
no.
don't. I don't really. I don't. I
What
don't.
I'm,
I don't.
what I'm doing is I'm actually having a look to see if you're showing any patterns, any one of these patterns. Remember, I started talking to you about it beforehand. It's
Yeah.
about the direction. Like at the moment, I'm seeing us at the center point of the infinity on the side. Okay. Some are going to return back into the dark, some are going to return back into the light, some are going to come from the dark into the light, vice versa, da 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 da. But there's a there's a path that's being shown. There's all these different directions to the same path. So in both sides of it, there's a left and there's a right. So there's every path you take is going to be right. There's just two rights, only one left.
Hmm.
Okay. So that's what I saw in that. So I've got the whole center point, the ascending, recognizing your center point, lightening your energy respecting the space that you're in, respecting the space that others are in, because we don't know fully what's going on inside their head. We don't know who's tapping into their energies. One thing I wanted to address about the focus was, yeah, double check, triple check if you need to. If you switch the oven off, just make sure you switch the elements off as well. Because if somebody comes along and switches the one on at the wall, right, all the elements, the one that was left on is going to, so make sure you double check things like switching your power switches off. Okay,
Yeah,
making sure.
we don't have those here, but yeah, just making
Yeah, oh,
sure
okay.
that
Yeah,
you have it turned off. So what I do, because I get it, I understand why those switches are right there at the switch point, is that I just unplug the stuff.
yeah. Well, it's
Because it's
it's little.
always going to draw energy. It's always going to draw
Yeah.
energy.
It's little things like don't forget to dry the floor when you've gotten out of the shower or the
Hmm.
bath or in the kitchen floor. Others
Yeah,
may slip over.
yeah,
It's now we're coming into a time where we got to be more focused on our actions
yeah.
because our actions play a role in the energy around us. We're already having to deal with other beings' energies around us dealing with their own headspace and stuff.
Yeah. All
But
right. My head
with
just went in
you,
a totally
whatever
different
you,
direction.
oh, okay, no, oh, mate, some of the journeys this week have been really, really testing, and I think a lot of people are being pushed to their testing points, their breaking points. If you can push yourself past those breaking points, you will be able to breathe again. You'll be able to turn around and go, well, wow, why didn't I see that before?
Yeah.
There's a lot of good energy coming your way. Just stay strong. Yeah.
I think one of the things that, because I take maybe a few minutes every day to kind of play with the cards, and so one of the more consistent things you can start to pick up on would be something like an Eight of Cups, where you're going to be stepping away from something,
Yeah.
but it may or may not mean for you that you're going to be, leaving the eight to go to the nine. But it also, the other thing, and this is interesting too, is that another eight had come up a lot, which is the Eight of Swords. So thoughts and words. So it's like the self-talk, self-imposed restrictions, not realizing what you have within your grasp. The cords are loose. You could cut them with the swords behind you. And it's also about the anxiety that's attached to
Mm.
the idea of a sword. A lot has come up where it's been the eight and then the nine. So it's like being in a nightmare, waking up, and you're still in that nightmare. So you got to shake that off, because those swords are there as a protection as well. You just don't see it that way, and you're trying to be redirected. When you have that nine, you're being redirected to something that might be uncomfortable, because that's going to push you into a 10 of swords. Who wants to be pinned to the ground with 10? So this is like, and because we sometimes will wait too long,
Yeah.
and we'll be really uncomfortable with our situation, and then the next thing you know, it's like, oh, you've gotten past that, and you're next, it's like you're the fool with the bag,
Yeah.
and you're taking that leap of faith, and that kind of has to play out. You still have to go through that 8, 9,
Yeah.
and 10 to get to that open feeling of I'm now free, because that's kind of what it says to me. I am free to do what my heart desires, and because the fool can go anywhere, he's got everything he needs in that little pouch on his bag.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, and you have your companion, that's the dog or whatever it is. It's there to help guide you, if I can get my syntax right, help guide you through whatever you're going to encounter in this new beginning.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just kind of my little philosophy there on what it is. But all right, it's cold there, isn't it? It's hot here. I am so
Yeah.
hot.
No,
I
it
got
is.
fans on. I can't even open the windows. It's, well, it's 80 degrees here, or 80. It was like 90 something. It's more than 80.
Oh, it's sunny, but it is cold. There's snow on the mountains around us here, around the volcanoes.
Yeah. So it's
And it's
85. So that's probably about 23, 24, and it's humid. It wants to rain. So,
oh,
when it
that's
starts to want
nice.
to rain, it starts to feel like really heavy. And there's always dew on the grass. So when I go out, I've been going out every night. I didn't go out last night. Oh, yes, I did. I've been going out every night, and just kind of hanging out by the fire pit or up close
Good.
to the house. Yeah, I'm gonna go out again tonight. Dog and I'll hang out. We might. The one time when we go out. It's like 2 in the morning here when I go out, and it's just so nice because nobody else is out there to bug
Yeah.
us, you know. So yeah, that's like my piece. I'll get like 3 or 4 hours of sleep. It's like, okay, let's go for a walk now. So yeah, you do what you got to do to kind of get through what you got to get through. But
Yeah.
okay, so that was your focus thing. What else you got? Let's go for it. Sorry.
Okay. No, no, no. Focus and attention was a good one. Self-awareness. Basically knowing where your energy's going, what you're doing with your energy, who's draining it. Why are you wasting your time on certain areas, putting that much energy into it? You still get the job done with less energy.
So how do you
Um,
feel about so here. Right. So draining your energy. And I kind of am in a little bit of a quandary because a lot of people like to show those, when they go over the gridiron football fields or whatever it is here in the States, and they'll make it look like an eyeball. And they're saying, oh, these are Lelouch collections. And I'm feeling like it's not necessarily the people in the crowd. I'm feeling like it's something underneath that's going on. I know that there are a lot of them are hotbeds for abduction, and that's where I'm going to just leave it. So people just kind of disappear. Usually it's the littles.
yeah,
So this is like a suction funnel vortex area. I'm not going to say it's a portal. I think it's more like a vortex to get you pulled in
yeah,
and taken somewhere else. And it could be. And here's the thing that I think is really interesting is that I've heard people say that this is really actually related, so don't might sound disjointed, but when you're in the military and you sign up and your heart and space is there because you love your country and you want to help the
yeah,
people that live in your country, and you go into a battle zone and you're in this conflict and you go, this is not what I expected. And you come out of it and you're absolutely shattered, because I personally know people that have gone through that, but they still love their country. They love the fact they were doing what they felt was the right thing to do, but they have like a paradigm shift of where their heart would be for what they've done. And I
yeah,
kind of feel like that is kind of sort of like that, but when it comes to sport, this is an entertainment thing. And I used to be pretty involved in ice hockey. I'm not gonna say what it was, but I was, part of the team of people and got to travel. It wasn't NHL; it was AHL, so the American Hockey League, and we did 3 seasons. And okay, I'll say, I was a massage therapist to help those guys get through the season. I guess when I wasn't really realizing it, people were considering those as Lelouch collection. And I really feel the Lelouch collection happened not as a result of the players, not as a result of the people involved with it, but it was more an idea of having scouts out there to kind of collect the littles or anybody else that they could
yeah,
collect to and have the rituals underneath those buildings. That's the scary part. So, I kind of have to feel like I delineate between that, because knowing those guys involved in the hockey, as players, no freaking way. There is no way. Their heart and soul was really in love with that game. They love the people that they work for. So, stop perpetuating what these other people are putting out there. making you
Yeah.
feel like that the players involved, even the staff, the people that have a job that go out there and they're selling you hot dogs and chippies and whatever else they got. That's not who those people are. They're not contributing to that. Just like those soldiers are not contributing to the loot collection. They're part of a system that maybe feeds that on an undertow, but that's
Yeah.
not where their heart is. And I think when we put our energy into that and raise that awareness, that's where the expansion can take place. That's where the heart and soul can take place. And we can reclaim that. We can reclaim our defense. We can, because let's face it, sports are entertainment. I loved hockey. It was a lot of fun. Don't like watching stuff on TV. We'll go to the game, totally different experience. So keep that in mind and other aspects of what they're trying to show you. Look at things with a little more critical eye. If you think,
Yeah.
oh, that makes sense, why does it make sense? Question yourself why it makes sense. Who's doing the research? And who in the research is doing the research that they got?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't end just there. It's like big timey and gets really heavily layered and very, very deep.
Yeah. That's how I see all the skills. It came from somewhere.
Yes.
And, I honor whoever put it out there first, for starting the ball, even though it's been manipulated along
Yes.
the way. Right. So yeah, it's
Well,
yeah.
it reminds me of it's like everything's been hijacked, everything's been
Yeah.
flipped. So
Yeah.
people sit there and oh, will you have this and you have these things that are what was I just thinking of? Oh, like, oh well, these hand things mean this, and oh when they do this it means that, and it's like, well, yeah, it might mean for them, but the whole thing is that those are mudras.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's the intention behind the mudra as to what you're going to be putting out.
Yeah.
So consider that it is not an evil thing. If you see someone doing this, if you see someone doing that, it's whatever it is. Sorry if you guys can probably hear that. Let me double check to. I can turn that off. There we go. So yeah, it's it's just interesting that we demonize everything. And if we demonize things, that means we're removing our own power.
Yep. Yep. We've given it away
666
for
is,
too long.
yep, yep. We're allowing us to be corrupted.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's even emotional hijacking. All right.
Yes,
That's all forms of corruption. You can get all of that under control, but you got to want to do the work. You've got
right.
to want to go, no, I don't want this anymore. I need to make a change. And this is the transformative, the spiritual transformative stuff that goes on. It's like, wow, I don't need to be that way anymore. Yes, I can allow it to hurt me if I want, but what's the purpose of that? What am I going to achieve by letting that hurt me? Okay, it was something that was done. It's in the past, move on. All right, what else? What else comes up? And you just allow yourself to, it's like a surrender to, you could turn around and you can become a berserker and go into a rage and you cause all of this strife and you can, this is what it means to start becoming quiet with yourself, listening to yourself, listening to your emotions, listening to your heart, knowing that of course you're triggered, of course you're affected, but you're wanting to step into that higher version of yourself. This is an opportunity for you to see and do that. And as soon as you recognize that this is an opportunity, all of the stuff that could have affected you, if you allowed it in, would have and may have caused more trauma down the line, compounded injury, da 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 da. But you
Mhm.
don't have to accept that. You
Right.
can say no, no thanks. Cheers for the offer,
Yeah.
but I'm busy somewhere else and move on. and just go, well, you're going to have these moments where it's like, oh, that actually did leave a little bit of a sting, but that's okay. As soon as you feel it, you recognize it, breathe through it, let it go, release, because you're stronger than that. You're more than that. You don't, these are different types of parasitical, I call them parasitical feeders, because they latch on to our emotions. They try to trigger us where they think we are the weakest. So now when I feel like I'm getting I have an internal battle that goes on for friggin' days. This is what's gone on this week. But I'm
Yeah.
over it, and I
Yeah.
transmuted it into, I think I told you a little bit in the privates. I transmuted it into a positive and made the best be where it's meant to be. You
Yeah.
know? I don't need to, put that energy into that. Thank you for the triggering. Thank you for showing me that I'm still connected to the human race.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't need to take it on. It's not mine.
Mm-hmm.
Cheers for the try. Adios. Good luck. Take your power back. It doesn't mean you have to be rude to those around you and all of this, because
Yeah.
by taking your power back, you're stepping back into a more humble version of yourself. You want to go to the next dimension, you need to start acting like it. So this is the pussyfooting around. Stop pussyfooting around. Step up to the plate. Allow yourself to release all of this anger and shit, but don't do it where there's others around, so you're not putting it on them. All right. Okay, I've got it all flying around my face right now. All right, let's settle down. Yeah, it's about staying focused, staying calm, recognizing when a trigger starts, when you start feeling that, oh, did you really? No, back up, back up, back up. Any kind of trigger response that's going to try to pull you and get your attention that you really know you don't need to be focused on, you have the abilities to diplomatically, politely, courtesy, back away from the situation and allow it to unfold over there. Right? You don't need to be involved. You don't need to be involved. If that phone rings at 4 o'clock in the morning and it's someone saying, oh, I'm drunk, I need someone to talk to, I'm not directing this at anybody in particular.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me, honest. It wasn't me.
you know, these are the things. Don't pick up the bloody phone. Don't pick it up at 4 o'clock in the morning, because then you're interacting. And this is what it's about. Recognizing when you take that step, now you're interacting. So when you can recognize that, you can go, bye. You can still be an observer. We have different types of beings around us 24/7. Some of them I call the watchers. They're just there to observe. They can't interfere. They can't interfere. We can wrap our brains until absolutely insane to try to understand why they don't help out. But just by them being in that presence, there's an energy that has helped out. There's a record that's been kept. All right, they are the observers. I don't know what they're there for fully, but I know that I've seen them on different dimensions. And I wouldn't be surprised if they're not here too, through us, watching them and their interaction. If they can see us, we can see them. This is my attitude towards any being that's around. You feel its presence. I mean, our senses are not just A, B, and C. Oh, you can read, you can see color, you can hear a sound, you can hear music, you can hear when you are tone deaf. These little things that go on, if you allow to hear it further, you know, sit yourself in a meditation spot. Um, you don't need to spend hundreds of dollars doing this stuff. It's sit on the floor.
Mm.
You're in a room. Hear the noises that are in that room there with you. Now step outside of that room in your hearing and hear the next level. What's going on? There's another room there. Can you hear what's going on inside that room? This is about allowing yourself to test your senses, to allow your sight to go further. It's like that story I tell, if you look at the frog will only see the fly that's flying around it, but it can't see the dead one that's right in front of it. It's right there. You can't see it. And it's the same. This is how I feel for me. There's like all these different levels that we can find ourselves in. And it takes us all this time to be able to recognize the repetitive patterns of the dimensions that we go into, the regular beings that we interact with in these dimensions. When we start seeing that, we can go, okay, now I can control the dimensions I want to go to. And while I'm here on earth, I have this much access, and I don't need anyone tentacles trying to hijack it anymore, because I am aware of it. And yes, I'm not fully 100% aware of it, and I appreciate that, and that allows me to keep growing.
Mm.
So, and what do you want to be? We want to change this landscape. We want to change. When I say landscape, I'm talking about, and I should be careful with the words. We want to change the darker, heavier side into the lighter version. So when was it that you were the happiest in your life? What did you have that surrounded you? You know, build on that energy, that light energy that's inside you, because that is golden. That can heal every part of you. If you need healing spiritually, mentally, and physically, you can do it yourself. So I don't know where I went. You let me go too long. I went tangent.
Well, I think one of the things that I kind of picked up off of that was about, again, it's going to go back to discernment, because everybody's going to be in a different space and place, and they're going to have to make that determination as to what's going to work for them, for their goals that they want to accomplish, whatever that is. When you're talking about someone, I think the analogy that you gave of somebody calling, and you see that you have the option to answer that call. I am not wired to ignore the call
Yeah,
unless I first see who it is. And you have to kind of read, no, seriously, you have to read into not just who's calling, but you can kind of start to get those feelers out there as to why.
yeah, what they
And you
want.
start, yeah, and not even really that specific. You can get that, and maybe it's because I'm picking up more on a somatic level, that you can pull that in, for lack of a better way of putting it, and use your own personal discernment for that specific situation. So that's going to be kind of key with a lot of the things. And I don't think it's going to be like rapid fire or anything like that. We're going to, based on wherever we're at our level of functioning, we're going to be able to kind of rapid fire do that a little
Oh yeah,
easier. It's not that those things are going to come quicker to us. It's that our processing of that information is going to become more more easily accessed. It's going to be
yeah,
smoother. It's not going to be something, do I have to pick up the phone? No, you're going to be able to tell whether you should, because I still struggle with that. Should I answer this? Should I not? And I have to take a minute to kind of make that discernment point. And it is getting quicker. And a lot of times, the best thing to do is not using an esoteric form of discernment, is making sure that you're paying attention to what's here. You don't
yeah,
want to use any kind of what you would consider a divination. You want to bring all of your divination, as it were, within yourself, because
yeah,
everything that's available to you with any of the tools, any of the cards, any of pendulums, whatever mancy you want to put on that, you have the ability to develop that within your own space, your own
absolutely.
place.
Yeah,
And I think that there are a lot of people that are out there that have that level of discernment, but they have been going down a different path. And once they start realizing, I'm not going to use the word awakening, they start realizing with their real eyes who and what they are and how much power they do have over
Yeah.
manifestation. I have to tell you that manifestation
Mm.
is your belief system. It's your imagination, irrespective of what you see out in the world. If you are maintaining that within yourself, you maintain that feeling, you are able to bring that into your life without words, without paying anybody, without saying anything to anybody. And it's best to keep it to yourself because people will call you delusional. You just maintain that whatever you got within you that is your heart's dream. And some people say, well, you have to be very specific, like you're for you want to have a companion, you're very specific. I think that's bullshit. For me personally, hey, maybe you need that kind of detail. I really don't need a whole lot of detail because I'm more interested in a character quality, integrity, uh, that sort of thing, as opposed to, they're so tall and they have their eyes the color. People get into that stuff. You
Mm.
don't need to. If you want something, whether it's a money or job or anything like that, and I'm starting to talk about manifestation, but because I've realized this,
Yeah.
it's like if this is what I want, this is the feeling that I embody for that. What does it feel like to be in that and believe that you have it
Yeah.
already?
Embody
If
it.
you say, I hope to have, or I will have, no, I have it
No.
now. I
Have.
just I don't see it
Now.
but and when you couple that with feelings and a vision of gratitude, I can't tell you how many times I even in the car today, how many times I've expressed gratitude because some of the somatic things that have been coming in have been extremely strong. And that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying is distracting. And I missed those two exits,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is fine. That's what I say. I probably needed some time before I got home and doing what I needed to do. And they knew that was going to need to be reorchestrated. And I'm fine with that. And
Yeah.
that's the other thing, too. Give yourself the grace, give yourself the kindness, and realizing that
Yeah.
it's about our expectations, so let go of it.
Yeah.
Let go of it. And you talk about you talk about cutting cords because I think that's all bullshit. I think you need to untie them because when
Yeah.
you cut a cord, god freaking dang it, that
Go back.
mofo will just grow right back and it'll sprout. I got these nasty things growing on the corner of my house. It's like, God bless America. I got to pull those suckers off my house because it's going to ruin the brick. It's like,
Yeah.
get off my house. And, you're out there cutting and clipping. And I was talking to somebody about trying to get rid of this stuff. Anyway, I digress. The idea is not just the vigilance, but it's also retaining and regaining your power and realizing what you have is that manifestation and believing it, feeling it, and embodying it
Yeah.
and keeping it to yourself because people will destroy your vision
Yeah.
100% without a doubt because
Yeah.
it's taken me I've been back in the States since 2014 and it's taken me this long. I'm the country western song in reverse. The story about the guy lost the car, lost the house, lost the partner, lost the dog. Me, I'm good. I'm just waiting for the partner. So, and I don't, if that happens, great. But my thing is that it's whatever you're going to be in the right space in the right place, and it's going to happen when it's not a matter of divine timing. It's a matter of your aligning with
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Because if you're not aligning with that idea, it's going to be a freaking mess.
Yeah.
It's not gonna work, and you're gonna end up, ah, shite. I'm gonna be going through in that cycle again. I gotta relearn that. I gotta relearn
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah.
it's a huge growth opportunity when we have this Lionsgate. I can't wait to get out there and take
Mm.
pictures. If the dang clouds in Michigan, we were always getting these clouds. It drives me nuts.
The last case that I had that I did it with, it took 3 weeks to get to a safe place, a place where you could see that improvement was coming back.
Right.
So, but it was about looking at the smaller stages of improvement
Mm-hmm.
each day, each hour, each minute, and it is chaotic to start with. But then, what I've found is if you give your mind a hobby or a project like doing some art or just writing anything, start writing some of the old stories that you heard as a kid, or start writing some of the wonderful journeys that you've had thus far. Changing the concept of the chemicals in your mind is very important. Don't neglect eating food and drinking. It is hard to um, not reach for a pill or a medication
Yep.
to numb it out. But at the end of the day, that's just another problem that you're going to have to wean yourself off and through. But
Yep.
if you need it to manage it, I'm not a doctor, I don't prescribe nothing. That's your own kit and boodle. But I recommend sleep tea, the natural stuff. I have sleep teas like chamomile, comfrey. I do all sorts of teas.
Mm.
Anyway, you know,
Teas are
there,
powerful.
there are
Teas
other
can be very powerful.
if you're
It's the
going,
alternative herb.
yeah, if you're going through these things and you feel this anxiety, take a bath, have a shower, lay down on the floor, lay down on the grass, let your senses feel something different. All right, let your senses
Yeah.
pick up on some different stimuli than what is running around here. You can stop that from taking place. As soon as you can identify it, identify the patterns. Oh, you're doing, did you really, we forget what we're doing. We start, oh, I've got to go shopping. I've got to get A, B, and C. Oh, next minute you've got an appointment with the doctor because you think you've got Alzheimer's. No, there are other things going on that need to be addressed within you. All
Yep.
right. I do it through meditation. My meditation is vacuuming, cleaning, mowing the lawn, uh, doing art. My art is in the kitchen, nature's alchemy. I'm in there creating something out of, I don't know, to make it taste like something the brain thinks it used to remember. It's like, oh, the brain wants this, but the body wants this. Okay, how can I give it both? Alchemy, baby, alchemy. You know,
Yeah, and I remember learning because homeschool the boys, so one of the things that we made sure was they were able to know their way around any kitchen.
yeah,
So when we did do work in the kitchen, I was actually doing a chemistry lesson.
yeah,
So because that
yeah.
is chemistry. I mean, we talked about all that stuff, why does the flour, wait for the water? And I had a starter. It was just, people think you have to add sugar and yeast. No, it was flour and water. We use
That's
very
all.
clean water and flour. And if you know how to keep it, you know, covered and at the right temperature and you do it at the right time of year. I had the same starter and did bread for like 7 years. And then when
Wow.
we moved, I had to give it all up, but it was fantastic. It was the most beautiful bread. And when you have natural breads like that you can harvest the yeast naturally and keep that. It's because it's a living thing. You keep it in the fridge and you'd have to, it's like, I got to check in on it every, just like your grandma, you got to check in on her
Mm.
every couple of 3 days. And you make sure that everything's cool. But you
Oh,
know, I guess the thing is that you make sure that you keep tabs on what you've got. And
mate, honestly,
to
I was so excited. I know what you're saying. I was so excited. I'm cleaning out some jars earlier this morning. I want to actually just run into the kitchen and get it and show it to you because I think you'd be like,
All right. Yeah,
it's
go ahead if you want to go grab it. And
it's got like I didn't even count them, but I make Scoobies. Okay, mothers, mother vinegar mothers. And there's like they've come down and there's layers and layers and layers and layers. So it's actually breeding a certain density before it just drops down and then it
Mhm.
starts up again. And then so it's like, oh wow, that's like I love it. I love the whole getting back to nature and doing the old ways. You don't actually need that much flour and water. Oh my God. Did you ever make sourdough?
That's essentially what you do with just the flour and water, and it takes about 3 to 5 days, depending on the temperature of your kitchen. And that's what it is. And the natural sourdoughs that you make will depend on your water and the flour and the age of the flour, where you're harvesting the yeast from from the air naturally. And it should smell like beer. It should smell like a really
Yeah.
lovely,
Yes. Yeah.
flowery beer. And it lasts longer. You don't once you have that starter in the fridge, my experience was that you took a portion out and you fed it. You have to feed it. So you looked at the kid in your fridge and you figured out whether it needed a little more water or a little more
Yeah.
flour. Because flour is going to be dependent on how much water you put in and how old the flour is. It might be a little drier flour maybe from that season. So I kept that going with a fairly consistent viscosity. So when I would take it out to make something, whether it was pizza or whatever, I never had to put yeast in it. Once you get it to that point, I would put in flour. I mean, not flour. I could put in more flour and water. That lump of dough that I took out as the starter would be the was point where I could do either pizza, because we did
Yeah.
Friday we did pizza. So it was Friday pizza, or if I did like a couple of loaves of bread for that week, it would stay on the counter, properly wrapped. I would put it in a paper bag and then wrap that in plastic and tie that off. And so it had enough to breathe, and it would keep, I'm not kidding you, for 2 to 3 weeks. No preservatives. So if I wanted to put salt in it, if I wanted to put sugar in it, if I wanted to put garlic in it, if I want to put cheese in it, it would keep for a longer period of time because it
Yeah.
it had a natural environment. I didn't need any kind of additive or dough conditioner or some kind of life extender or some chemical to keep it from getting moldy. Didn't need any of that stuff. It would keep to rarely would it last that long in the house because, boys, they eat. So
Yeah.
it was gone. It was
Yeah.
gone. It was gone. So I think the point is when we get back to these very basic, very simple things that people have lost those skills, they've lost that knowledge because the knowledge, once that's lost, the skills will fall.
Oh
Because
yeah. Oh
people aren't going to use that anymore. I mean, with the canning and all that other kind of stuff, but that's how we keep ourselves healthier. Granted, whether we're in a different environment today, but if you're in an area where you do have roadside, stands, I passed two or three of them on the way home. The tomatoes and peppers and Michigan is known for their corn and potatoes and sugar beets. Don't do the sugar beet thing, but because I don't do sugar, I don't do candy and any kind of stuff. But the corn, eh, but all the other stuff, I mean, tomatoes, people roadside, you
yeah.
can get just about anything. You don't have to go to the local, even the local market. You don't have to go to the big Walmart thing. You don't have to go to those big. I hate Walmart. I don't go to Walmart. Even Aldi's, I shy away from the big stores. I think that's a British. I think that came from Britain. Aldi's, but I don't do any of that stuff because people look at the money and it's like, well, just me. What I can barely eat a bell pepper one a week.
Yeah.
So if you look at it into perspective, you're going to eat less food if you have foods that are more nutrient dense. And I think that, just an opinion, not nutritional advice. I do. Check with your professional.
When it comes down to measuring your food, people will be actually really surprised if you could actually measure everything and saw what you ate is a heck of a lot less than you thought.
Mm,
And then you go, okay, well, what can I change in my diet? And before you know it, you're doing one meal a day. You're doing like you have maybe 2 to 3 days off a week where you don't actually need to eat at all. And it feels
mhm.
amazing. Not
Yeah.
giving advice or anything like this. This is entertainment purpose only.
I've kept my blood pressure down by doing that. Because I've had it spike a few times just after like talking to some people. It kind of
Yeah,
raises my blood pressure a little bit. And it's like, okay, I'm gonna go lay down. My son actually had to come over and cut my lawn for me. I said, can you cut my lawn? I'm not done so good. I want to keep from stroking out here. So I kind of
yeah,
chilled for a little bit. And that's not me. I've always had, those numbers have always been quite down. So for these changes that are going on, I think this is part of it. As part of these changes down in our environment, as changes in our physical form reacting to the environment.
yeah,
So you got to do whatever's right for you in your particular area, because everybody's going through something that's different. I had somebody who's in a doctorate program for natural health, and I
yeah.
mentioned something about, do you have any natural remedies that you would recommend for blood pressure reduction or stabilizing? Because it's really not about reduction, it's about stabilizing
Yeah, it is.
those numbers. And they came up with something about diabetes. Like, what?
Oh, look, I had a total stranger to stop me this week and talk to me about his life story, saying that he ended up in hospital for 5 weeks with sepsis because of diabetes.
Oh
And
my
out of nowhere, I told him, go and get some loquat leaves and make yourself a loquat tea and watch your insulin change.
God.
Right. It's about looking at all the foods you're taking in, where the hidden sugars and dangers are for you. You might not be bread, it might be bread you need to take out of your diet. There may be something in your diet that is too high or too low. You got to work
Yeah.
out which, there's two sides of the spectrum here for the diabetes. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, so that came up. That's come up a few times. So it's like when I hear it 2 or 3 times, I'm looking at the other energies that are around. I look at the advertising that's being pushed out and pumped. And then I go into the algorithms to see if it's actually by design or if it's actually natural. So, there's a lot of areas that we're influenced over. So, yeah. If there's little things too, like if you feel you're going to stroke out or you feel you're having heart palpitations, chili powder, put a little bit of dab it on the end of your finger, just chili powder. Okay, don't worry about the little sensation of burn. It just could save your life. But these are just remedies, natural remedies that I use for myself. Okay,
So the
dab it on the
caveat, yeah, the caveat to that too is that if you really do feel like you're in crisis because we can
Oh,
cross that threshold, please do whatever your emergency number
need
is, please
to.
dial it, because I think it's different there than what it is here. So whatever your 3-digit emergency number is, please don't hesitate to. I did that once. I was at work several years ago, and myself and another lady were working on a Christmas day. I wasn't meant to be there. She wasn't meant to be there, but there was a crisis going on, and I happened to be there because that's just me being in the overachiever. And we both went into the med room and shut the door, and we took each other's blood pressure. I took a picture of it and sent it to my boss. I was like, this really sucks. And he's going, go to the hospital. Didn't say anything else. Go to the hospital. And it's like, no, you asshole, I'm going home. I was like,
Yeah,
I'm not staying here. This is like, it was just a toxic place. So a lot of times just changing your environment can drop those numbers down a little bit. And that, because again, it's like everybody's going to respond so differently physically to what's going on with them emotionally and psychically and all that other kind of madness.
Oh yeah,
It's
absolutely.
important that you take a holistic view of what can I handle. And if someone is telling you, and even though I did ignore my boss, it's important that you try to listen to them.
Yeah,
All right. Because
yeah,
whatever happens is going to be on you.
yeah,
All right. And you have to kind of look at the big picture as to how I'm going to create the best outcome, maybe is the one thing to the. So we're at Lionsgate 2025.
yeah,
So one of the things that I looked up that came up, I said Lionsgate 2025 powerful. That's all I put in. It says it's the most powerful manifestation opportunity of the year, peaking August 8th, 2025. The cosmic event occurring in the sun is in Leo and aligns with the star Sirius and Orion's belt is amplified by the numerological significance of 8-8, symbolizing infinity, abundance, and karmic balance.
yeah.
Astrologers and spiritual guides emphasize this day it offers a unique window for spiritual awakening, releasing old patterns. Huge, 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 huge.
Wow.
Spiritual awakening, releasing old patterns,
Yes,
that is big. Manifesting profound personal transformation. I
yes,
still say releasing old patterns can go in either direction. Releasing old patterns can raise spiritual awakening, and can also provide you an avenue for manifesting profound personal transformation. There's a peak
yeah,
energy. It's between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m., which we're beyond that. It's 9:32. There's an enhanced potential in 2025 portal that's described as especially potent due to its alignment with the Chinese year of the snake, which encourages intuitive growth, deep healing, and a quiet, profound inner transformation. That's
yeah,
that's really, really big. To harness the powerful energy, experts recommend sending clear intentions, meditating in the sun. Good luck with
yeah.
that here in the States now. Sun's down. Serious energy, journalizing, creative vision boards, practicing gratitude. Gratitude is good anytime, anywhere. Gratitude is hugely important. And we can use crystals like serpentine. Smoky quartz is awesome. Selenite, I got a lot of that, and it can help. It says support the process. I think it can help facilitate it. It says focus areas. The portal is believed to facilitate breakthroughs in career, relationships, health, financial abundance, and spiritual development with specific guidance provided for each zodiac sign. I know a lot of people don't believe in the zodiac signs. Depends on where you're from. What you believe in is everything.
Yeah.
Because there's a Chinese zodiac, there's a Hawaiian zodiac, there's all kinds of zodiacs out there. So for me, because my family is from this area, Europe, Germany, who God only knows after that. I mean, could have gone south, could have, who knows, borders change. Um, but that's kind of, I think, where we are. Really good information. Take your power back, I think, is the overall. Take your power back, realize who and what you are. Because I was under somebody's thumb for so many freaking years, thinking I was absolutely worthless. And that's not the case. That is
No.
definitely not the case. It doesn't mean you're a biatch or anything like that. It just means that you have this ability to stand up for yourself, but also take the advice of someone wiser than yourself if you need
Mm,
it. And it doesn't mean older or younger, just means wiser.
yeah.
Okay.
Before when you were talking about the pendulum and stuff, you can become the pendulum. You can stand
Yes.
there. I used to do this practice and stand there and hands beside my side, feeling the energy, and I would just all of a sudden I feel myself rocking or
Yep.
swaying. So get in alignment. You feel yourself getting in that alignment. And then you ask yourself that question, where is da 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 da? Show me the direction. And before you just don't try to force it. Don't try to force it.
Yep.
Just allow
Yep.
yourself to just keep rocking like you are, and then all of a sudden you'll go to a one direction. you'll get pointed into one direction. I've done it. I love it. Yeah, I had some good results.
And one of the things too that I noticed is that a lot of times if I stand outside, and you can kind of feel like, and I used to do this when we played Wii, when I was totally outside of all of this particular awareness realm. You have your balance board, and you're standing there, and it has the little diagram where you're supposed to stay centered and balanced and all that. And I ended up just kind of pulling up. So this is how I would kind of do it. And I would imagine a string from the top of my head, not in the middle, but like at the back, where like over your spine. And I would just imagine that lifting me up. And I could keep that Johnny on the spot. It was really, really fun, because it's a game. But when I stand in the backyard, typically at night, because, that's just me,
You like the
I
start?
feel something at my shoulders, typically, not always, typically at my shoulders and just below, that I can feel like this. And
Yeah,
I go, okay, well, what is this? Well, apparently it's something coming in to clean up whatever is in my particular area.
feel. Yeah,
Me. It's
yeah,
part of me. And when you start to show gratitude for just everything, not really focusing on that, a lot of other things over time start to kind of come into view, as it were. You can feel it at your chest. You can feel it at your lower back. It's just kind of different spots will kind of push and pull, and it's like, well, this is really cool. And I've posted a few things about the light sticks. uh, these are all around us, and just because you can't see
mm,
them doesn't mean they don't exist.
mm,
I still haven't really figured out what those are yet, but they are. I've been told by a couple of people that there's some sort of energetic spirit plasma type creature. They look really weird because you can see that it has a definitive. So it's like, oh, well, it's this, bug or snow or whatever. There's a definitive start, there's a definitive end, and most of the time you can see something inside of it. So if
yeah,
you look at something that's like a fish that has a translucent skin, you can see all the organs inside of it. And I kind of think like this is a very, and you just think, oh, well, maybe it's very like a fish is a simpler. I think this is far more complex.
yeah.
And I don't know, and I don't think that the atmosphere is what they've told us it is. I think
No,
that's something that's a little more intricate, because some of the photographs I've taken suggest that it's very, very, very complex. And I think because they can't really explain it, they don't want to bring you your attention to it. So
yeah.
anyway, we have a lot more power than what we realize. Selena, you and I need to kind of talk very shortly, because you and I kind of talked about something earlier this week, and I would like to update you on a couple of things. Um, but anyway, what do you think, Stone? You wanna call it an evening? If you want to do something tomorrow
I've got,
night, or
yeah, might be. I've got something on tomorrow.
okay,
A promotion for the groups, the support groups that we do.
okay,
Yeah, but I will try, and there, yeah, there's a couple of things on. I'll have to get back in touch with you on that one. But I
yeah, yeah.
did a quick reading. I did a quick little thingamajiggy for yous. And I'm sorry. No, you
So
never
what
say
is the
sorry.
reading? What is it? Because we had a little conversation like, this is not general reading. What are you doing the reading on?
Whatever you want it to fit.
What? I beg your pardon.
Yeah,
I beg your pardon. I'm sorry.
whatever,
I'm sorry.
whatever
What did
you,
you say?
yeah, whatever you want it to fit. Oh, you're a bitch making me say that twice. Selena, you'll have to get her back for me, mate. Okay. All right.
Oh man. So really, I think the overarching idea here was about taking our power back, taking
Yeah.
our power back and focusing on who and what we are and,
Yeah.
and embodying that, not just embodying it, let's take the action on it.
Yeah. Well, this is what I got. I got personal growth. I got new growth. Okay. I got unexpected news. With appreciation comes gifts. So like when you start appreciating something, suddenly gifts, once upon a time it was, oh, what presents are you going to get me? What presents am I going to get? Da da da. My presence is presence enough. Yeah. Take your energy back. It's you don't just by being in somebody else's presence to be able to have a open conversation, a real open conversation where you have nothing to worry about. It's not going to go, it's not about where it's going to go, if it's going to go. Who are you going to offend? It's not like that. It's about you don't, one of the things I learned about doing these podcasts and stuff, you don't have to name names. It's just about the experiences that you get while you're in another being's company and
Yeah.
what resonates with you. This is the thing about friendships. Friendships can last forever because when you see the 50-50, you don't always have to be underneath each other's feet. It's like it's when you get into a relationship with somebody, the problem there is people forget that they had a life before they get into that relationship. And everything that your partner loves about you is because of what you were doing while you got into that relationship. But when you get into that relationship, a lot of those things that made you vibrant of who you are go on the way path that leave you behind. You leave them behind. So when you're stepping back into yourself and you start getting into these hobbies and these projects and you start going, well, I do actually like that. I do actually have some talent here. And it doesn't matter if others around you need to have an opinion about what you do, whether they like your art or whatever it is that you've got your focus on, is about how you feel about it. And when you'll know when you're truly in that space, when if someone says something negative about something that you really appreciate and you're really doing for you, doesn't water can't touch it no more. What is that? Water off a duck's back. And
Yeah.
and you can smile at it because you get that appreciation in what you do. And that poor bugger over here who's saying this nasty stuff hasn't found that level of appreciation in anything that they've ever done. Otherwise, they wouldn't be there saying that. So you get to you're constantly growing your awareness state by allowing not to give a shit, not to allow others to attack what it is that you're doing. You're growing, you're learning skills, you're stepping into your higher self-awareness. We're gonna get attacked left, right, and center because it's not gonna gel with others out there. But eventually they'll be doing their own journey. And the thing about this is, if we're here now, we can see it when others are doing it too. And that's what makes me smile. And it's
Mm.
not an easy ride because there's a lot out there that is so entangled in chaos and twisted bits and pieces that we have to untie these. We have to untie these knots so that you've got that free flowing, so your neurons can actually fire properly. Anyway, moving on from that. Okay, so the last part of that was you're never alone.
Yeah, what I kind of got out of that is there's a lack of self-love and self-acceptance and treating yourself well and maybe realigning some of your intentions and making yourself more aware of your own awareness. So, self-awareness.
Yeah,
Because then we can start getting into more of a self-deprecating, having regrets and blaming ourselves or blaming others even can be extremely toxic for us.
Yeah.
And we can kind of close ourselves off and be a little more distant. We can start to feel some guilt and maybe feel some shame over things that we kind of regret. And I think a big thing, I'm looking at the cards and kind of pulling this through, and because it's not what the cards look like or say. I mean, they kind of say that, but this is not what I'm getting pulled through. Is like the one thing that we need to kind of look at is making sure that we're keeping the mind of a child, having fun, enjoying life, irrespective of what's going on around us. And that's, you know, um, I deal with on a day to day people that will tell me things that they have done.
Yeah.
Some of them have been to do themselves in. And it's challenging, especially when you get to know that person. You don't take it on personally, but it's, especially when you've been in that space. And I know you have two stone that, you've been to that dark place. So tapping into that little child or
Yeah.
whatever that childlike mentality is that you can enjoy and have fun. This is going to be key. Maybe that's why, people probably think I'm an asshole, but I do have a sense of humor, and sometimes it can get very dark because how the fuck else are you going to deal with this stuff? You have to pull in from your childhood from a
Yeah.
level of immaturity. And if you don't like immaturity, fuck off. So you have to have that childlike innocence to kind of pull that in. You
Yeah.
have to have responsibilities, yes. Uh, but if you can remember those little threads of information or little threads of memory that can bring you back to that place of having fun, whatever that is. I mean, I could go on and on and on and on about the things that I've experienced personally. That's not relevant. It's got to be what's relevant to you that you can pull into where you are at.
Yeah.
And that's going to bring back a childlike innocence. And when you start seeing your world around you in those eyes, that's where you're going to really, and it's not a ascension. This is an expansion. And
Yeah.
the only reason you're going to expand is because there's so much. It's not going to become less dense. It's going to be just as dense. It's an expansion and a growth.
Yeah.
Um, Not like a wart. That's a growth too. You want something that's healthy because you can do that too. I'm sorry. Maybe that's my childlike, immature innocence poetry, but it kind of paints the picture, I guess, of bringing all that forward and making
Mm.
sure that's gonna help you navigate whatever challenges you've got going on. Because holy cannoli, we all got them.
Just breathe
We
through
all
it.
got them.
Main thing is stay
Especially when you're in
calm.
a manifestation mood. And I'm definitely there.
That's
Something that
right.
I've been trying to manifest for probably the last 5 years. I feel like has really started to come to a point where I'm hoping. I can't put a timeline in the future. I don't know when or if. I'm just putting out there that this is what I want, and the universe takes care of the rest. I don't want to know the details. I don't want to, because I've come so far. Country western song, lost everything. Now it's
Yeah.
in reverse. I have everything. Everything. And whether you have somebody else in your life or not, you already have everything. I know
Yeah.
I do. Everything.
That's one of the
Anyway,
things we need
that
to.
didn't make anybody cry, but maybe I do.
It was awesome. It was awesome. We need to step
You're
into.
muted. You're muted. I
Am
can't
I?
hear you. I know your sound went off. You're laughing your head off and there's no sound. But
Oh, that's weird.
anyway.
Okay. Well,
Oh, golly gosh, you lookers. We've been going on, it's almost 10 o'clock. We started late today. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's just me. Maybe they can hear you. Hang on.
I'm not sure.
It's just me.
Okay.
My life is complicated. I don't need a name. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. I was just gonna say, yeah. um, re-evaluating what's important to you, because you will realize you've got everything already right there. You've already got it, okay? And make good memories for you and your inner child, and the rest will just lay down in front of you. I know I've got mine. What you were saying earlier, right now we're in a manifestation period with the Lion's Gate and everything, and we can make stuff happen, but it's only going to happen with clear intent, you
Mm-hmm.
know, from here. You know Okay, clear intent. And if you've got all this other garbage, all this black smoke trying to get in, no, 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 because we don't want to manifest anything that's negative. We need to make sure that we're in the balance mindset and know clear intent what it is we're looking at. So absolutely, absolutely.
I think your
So it is,
imagination is hugely important too. When you're using your imagination properly, your imagination is the impetus for the manifestation process. And if that's a sustained imagination, if that's a sustained thought process, picture, feeling is so hugely important. Feeling is so important. Your imagination, like I said, is the impetus for the beginning of your manifestation in something that's physically tangible in this place. So thoughts are definitely things. And
oh yeah,
when they're consistent, even if they don't manifest something physical, they've manifested something in your brain. It's in your gray matter. As soon as you
yeah,
think of that, it's in your gray matter. It's like, holy shit, where did that come from? It's not me. Delete,
yeah.
delete, delete. You got to do that.
I'm making sure that I shake off as much stuff that's not mine, all karmic stuff, anything that is akashic that is not connected to me. I have released it, letting it go, enjoying the fact that I was able to experience this crazy ride with those that did whatever they did, good and bad, and I'm thankful. And it's like I'm moving into a new age, and you lot are not coming with me. So I'm letting that lot go, and I'm like, yeah. Oh, my pen took off somewhere.
That's all right. We're all pretty excited, and I think the last thing I got was that there is a frequency of delight that supports our capacity to create and experience feelings of intense joy and happiness. This is all in our control, and if we can sustain that, there's nothing that can stop what's coming, as they like to say. So the
Yeah,
more delight we feel, the more delight we evoke in others. So it doesn't even have to be something that you would agree with somebody else's version of delight. So let's be careful with that. But yeah, I'm gonna leave that at that because I mean there's some stuff coming into my head that's really personal. So
yeah, okay, okay, alrighty,
so
all
yep.
right.
So I'm gonna
And
put
if
every description box below and
Yep.
we'll
Don't
take it
feel
from here.
afraid to reach out to us. We might have a lot going on at this end of our worlds, but we're doing this to help others out there as well. All right. So if you're willing to do the work, because at the end of the day, we can't help you if you're not there to help yourself. So,
Yeah.
and I'm
You
not
still have
doing no work with someone who isn't in that state. So,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, you still have to do the work. Uh,
yeah,
have that conversation with people during work, the people I work with every day. You're going to do this. If you want this to happen, this is what you got to do. Do you agree with that? Yeah. Okay. All right. So where's your bullet? What are you going to do? And you make
yeah,
them repeat it back to you. What are you going to do? Is there anything you want to change about that, or maybe slow down or speed up, or let's make this yours. So giving other people, allowing them to realize that they do have the power,
that's
that's
right.
going to be really important too. So
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
thanks, Skippy.
absolutely.
All
All
right,
right.
I'm tired, bro. I mean,
All right.
just saying.
All right.
All right,
Well, we
so
managed we managed another half an hour, 15 minutes, whatever it was. So well done. Well done. You know,
all right.
one thing I do want to say too, like, even though we're going through tough times right now, one
Mhm.
thing that is coming up a lot is if you set yourself an achievable goal, like when you get out of bed and you make it, you made it for the
Yep.
whole day. You've made it.
Yep.
Right? So just little things, achievable goals before you leave the house, before you go to work. You've already achieved the whole day, and it'll change everything inside you. And if someone comes up to you and they've got a bit lower energy and they try to pull you into that, all you got to do is go back to that thought. I've achieved my goals for today. All right. So, keep achieving, keep growing. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. They recognize them as room for growth, and that's what we're here doing. So thank you, everybody, again. I think we're wrapping up. So thank you,
Yep.
everybody, again for coming along and supporting us. And thank you, Auric Vibe. You're always absolutely fantastic, my dear.
Same for you.
Yeah, this is awesome. I love working
So
with you.
we're gonna have once I get this situated, we're gonna go ahead and add all of the contact details below, and hopefully we're gonna try and organize at least one guest next week, and we'll see what
Oh,
happens.
we had a couple of guests, but last minute things they pulled out, but
Right.
that's just the way this thing works. It either
Yep.
does or it doesn't.
It's all good, and as far as I'm concerned, it always works because this is what it needs to be for in the now. So
Absolutely.
that all
Absolutely.
being